Hey everyone, lifelong learner Blueroot here with a new series to help you prepare for the Microsoft Azure Administrator exam, also known as the AZ-104 exam. These videos will provide practical examples that you could follow along with, covering all the topics in the AZ-104 exam. Here are the skills that are measured in the exam that this series will help you build and strengthen. Manage Azure Identities and Governance, implement and manage storage, deploy and manage Azure Compute Resources, configure and manage virtual networking, and last but not least, monitor and backup Azure resources. Okay, this video is episode 1, and in this episode, we will be going through some practical examples on how to manage Azure Active Directory identities. The objectives that we will be accomplishing in this video are to create and configure Azure AD users, create Azure AD groups with assigned and dynamic memberships, create an Azure Active Directory tenant, and to manage Azure AD guest users. Alright, so we will begin with creating and configuring Azure AD users. Just want to let you know that this is a fresh free trial subscription from Microsoft. First, we will be searching Azure Active Directory. Then on the left pane under Manage, we'll click Users. Notice that one user is already created, and that's created for you by default when you make a new Azure account. Take note of the location of your user. Mine is Canada. So let's go back and create a new user. I'm going to give this user the same username and name, as these are only for demonstration purposes, but feel free to name them whatever you like. Just make sure to remember it. I'm going to select let me create the password and set it to whatever you like. The user will have to change this when they first log in. Under usage location, ensure to provide the same location you have been using. Mine is Canada. And under job title, I'm going to give this guy Cloud Administrator. And for department, I'm going to put IT. Okay, so I created that user. And make sure to go back to your users tab and ensure that that new user was created. There we go. Sometimes it could take a minute or two to pop up. Okay, now for this new user, I'm going to assign them a new role. Click on your new user, and on the left pane under Manage, click on Assigned Roles, and then click on Add Assignments. For this new user, I'm going to assign them the User Administrator role. And as described, this user will now have the ability to manage all aspects of users and groups, including resetting passwords for limited admins. And that is exactly what I want. And there you go. This new user is now a user administrator. We're now going to log in as our new user. So copy the user principal name. Okay, now in a new private browser, we're going to hop over to the Azure portal. We're going to enter in that new user's principal name, and then sign in with the password you provided. You'll be prompted to update the password. Just set a new password. I'm just going to skip MFA for now. Okay, hop in the new user, hop over to Azure Active Directory again. And let's create a new user. Just gonna give username and name the same name. I'm gonna create a new password again for them. User's location again is gonna be Canada for me. Set it to whatever your location is. And job title, I'm gonna give it System Administrator. Department is still gonna be IT. Alright, so now we will be creating Azure Active Directory assigned and dynamic groups for the users we just created. Let's head over to default directory, and under manage click licenses. Now Azure AD Premium P1 or P2 licenses are required in order to implement dynamic groups, but under a free trial subscription like what I have here, you can also get a free trial of Azure AD Premium P2, which is really awesome. So head over to all products, click try/buy, and under Azure AD Premium P2, go ahead and activate a free trial. Simple as that. Okay, now with Azure AD Premium P2 activated, you have to assign all license options to all of your user accounts. So again, under your default directory, go to license. Under all products, click the newly activated license. Click assign. Under users, make sure to select all of your users. Make sure all of these settings are on under assignment options, and click assign. Alright, now back to your default directory. Under manage, click groups, and let's create a new group. We'll leave the group type as security. We'll set the group name as IT Cloud Administrators. And you can set the group description to whatever you want. Leave this to no. And change the membership type to dynamic user. If this drop-down list is grayed out, don't worry. Just give it another minute or two and it should become available. Now under dynamic user members, click add dynamic query. And this is where we're going to make it so this group will apply to whoever has the job title as Cloud Administrator. So under property, let's set it to job title. Operator will be equals. And value will be Cloud Administrator. Okay. Hit save. Create the group. And there you go. Alright, next we're going to be creating another group, but this is going to be for the system administrator. So let's go to new group. Again, leave the group type as security. The group name is going to be IT System Administrators. Group description, again, you can put it to whatever you like. Membership type is going to be dynamic user. Then let's create another query. Again, it's going to be job title as the property. Operator will be equals. And now the value this time will be system administrator for the job title. Go ahead and save. Click create. And now we have two groups to work with. Now let's create an assigned group to add the two dynamic groups we created to. Go to new group again, leave the group type as security. This group name, I'm going to put it as IT Lab Administrators. Put the group description as whatever you like again. Membership type, leave it as assigned. Now under members, click no members is selected. Now under the search tab here, go ahead and search for the two dynamic groups you created earlier. So here's one, and here's the second. Let's go ahead and select those and add them to this new assigned group, and then click create. Now if our dynamic groups were created correctly, our users should automatically be members of their appropriate groups. So under IT Cloud Administrators, let's check out their members. So that's correct, BlueRoot2 was a cloud administrator. So let's go back to groups. Let's check out IT System Administrators group. Let's check out their members. And that's correct, BlueRoot3 was a system administrator. Now under the assigned group IT Lab Administrators, its members are correct, the two groups that we assigned it. Alright, next we will be creating a new Azure Active Directory tenant. You could think of another tenant being another organization for now, but it can get a lot more in-depth than that in large enterprise cloud environments where multiple tenants are required. With that said, in your default directory overview, let's go to create a tenant. Leave the tenant type as Azure AD. Under configuration, give your new organization name. I'll just give mine as BlueRoot Lab. Your initial domain name, I'm going to put mine as BlueRoot Lab. And since I don't have a paid domain name, it's just going to default as bluerootlab.onmicrosoft.com. And I'm going to change my region to Canada again. Validation passed, so let's go ahead and create. This process may take a few minutes. After your new tenant is created, you can verify and access the new tenant by clicking your account at the top right of the portal. Click Switch Directory, and you should be able to view and access your new tenant here. Keep in mind that another directory requires another subscription, so if you haven't linked a subscription to the new tenant or switched over your existing one, you would not be able to create any resources on this new tenant. Next, we're going to create a new user under the new tenant, BlueRoot Lab, and add them as a guest to our default directory. So under the BlueRoot Lab Azure Active Directory, I'm going to go to Users, create a brand new user, and put the username and name the same again. I'm going to create the password for them. User's location is going to be the same. Job title, they're going to be a system administrator. Department will be IT. And I'll go ahead and create that. Under this new user you created, make sure to copy their principal name. Now back under your default directory, go to Users, and add a new guest user. Make sure Invite User is selected. And I'm just going to name them the same name that they have back on to the other tenant. Email address, make sure it's the one you copied. User's location will be Canada for me. And the job title I'm going to provide them will be Lab Administrator. And department will be IT. Remember, Lab Administrator group was an assigned group, not a dynamic group. So this new user will not dynamically be applied to that group. With that said, let's hop over to our groups. Hop over to IT Lab Administrators. Go into Members. And let's add a member. And that's going to be our new guest user, BlueRoot4. Notice how their email address is still applicable to the other tenant. And there we go. BlueRoot4 is now a guest user in IT Labs Administrator group in our default directory. And that's the end of this episode. If you followed this video, you have created and configured Azure AD users, created Azure AD groups with assigned and dynamic membership, created an Azure Active Directory tenant, and managed Azure AD guest users. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or it helped you even in the slightest, I would greatly appreciate it if you liked the video or even subscribed. Additionally, if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to help any possible way I can. I'll see you guys in the next episode, which will be episode 2, managing Azure subscriptions and role-based access control. Thanks and take care.